wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Live in Los Angeles, iHeartRadio, Fox Sports Radio, FS1. Christine Leahy is joining me, hour 2. Peter Schrager in about 3 to 4 minutes from New York, all sorts of NFL stuff. There's a big story today. The Buffalo Bills are trying, quote, like hell, unquote, to trade up and take a quarterback. So what Buffalo wants to do is what the Philadelphia Eagles, the Super Bowl champs, did last year. Philadelphia started at 13. They made trades before the draft to get to 8. Remember, they traded a first-round pick and Kiko Alonso and Byron Maxwell. So they had 13, they moved to 8, and then they went 8-2, and they got Carson Wentz. That's what Buffalo, according to the story this morning, Jason Lockenfora, CBS Sports, they want it. They've already gone from like 21. They've moved up to 12. Now they want to move up. Now the question is, how far does Buffalo have to move up? Well, it's real simple. They're not moving up for a left tackle. The Buffalo Bills are moving up for a quarterback. I believe it's either Josh Allen. I think they'd like a big, strong kid who can throw it downfield. I think they'd like to move into the 2 spot if Dorsey doesn't take Sam Darnold. I think they like Darnold. I would guess they like a big physical kid. So if you look at who's drafting ahead of Buffalo, they're in the 12th spot currently. We got little emojis here for the TV audience. Who's taking a quarterback and who's not? So we know the Browns at 1 and the Jets at 3 are. Nobody else needs one. Okay? But we also know there are 3 teams that could be talked into it. Giants at 2, Broncos at 5, and Dolphins at 11. They got quarterbacks, but either they're old, marginal, or kind of ineffective. Giants 2, Broncos 5, Dolphins 11. Okay, Buffalo's not giving up a ton of picks to get burned by the number 2 New York Giants. I will say this again. The New York Giants control this draft. They've got a new general manager. They're in a division where Philadelphia is stacked for years. In a division where Washington's got multiple star players. Kerrigan, Trent Williams, Josh Norman, high-end players, and now better at quarterback. They're in a division where Dallas has better personnel, 11 total picks, and only really needs an interior defensive lineman and a safety. Dallas is better than everybody thinks. You're not catching up and getting better with Saquon Barkley. This is a unique opportunity for the Giants to be able to get multiple picks from an absolutely desperate franchise. Buffalo doesn't, they don't have a starting quarterback now. So it very rarely in this league do you have an opportunity that a desperate football team calls you on the phone and that you know they're desperate and they know they're desperate. A lot of times, guy calls you on the phone. Well, we're really happy with what we have, but we are prospecting here. Buffalo's desperate. The Giants know they're desperate, and the Giants, according to stories, don't want a quarterback in a quarterback-rich draft. The Giants could use 5 new offensive guys. I like their young tight end. I don't want to pay Odell what he wants. Nate Solder's good, arguably 4th best left tackle in that division. I like Snacks Harrison. Landon Collins is special. I don't know what I have with Eli Apple. The Giants have a lot of questions in a division with a loaded Eagle team and talented Washington and Dallas. I'm not mentioning the other NFC teams. Rams are stacked. Green Bay's got Aaron Rodgers. Seattle has Russell Wilson. San Francisco's now got Garoppolo. You want to change your roster, New York, this is it. Saquon Barkley's not solving those issues. So Buffalo, according to stories, would like to move up again. There's no way, in my opinion, they can risk a move up and not get to the number 2 slot where maybe Sam Darnold or Josh Allen, they take either, falls to them. I think they make it happen. I think it's smart. I thought it was smart what Philadelphia did. Very exciting. And with that, we go to New York via the Coward Global Satellite Network. Peter Schrager. All right, story comes out. You tell me legit or not that Cleveland is looking at Josh Allen number 1, meaning the Giants or whoever has the second pick could get Darnold. Many presume the top quarterback prospect. Do you buy the story? Does it have legs?
Oh, I'm buying. It has legs, but more importantly, Colin, it has an arm, and it's Josh Allen's arm. And, I was at the owners' meetings last week out there in Orlando, and I'm doing every conversation I could possibly have around the league. And the thought was, okay, well, Jimmy Haslam was at the pro day for Sam Darnold. He was there with the family. Done deal. Wrap it up. I do my mock draft. I say he's the clubhouse leader, Darnold #1. I got texts from people within the Cleveland organization, almost snarky texts saying, wow, I'm glad you have a clubhouse leader because we haven't made our decision yet. The hay is not in the barn. They have not decided who they're taking #1 yet. Here we are on April 3rd. I will say this. John Dorsey is the new general manager of the Cleveland Browns, one of the most respected personnel men in the entire NFL. He was the Kansas City GM last NFL draft. Who did he trade up 17 picks to get? Who did he give up future first-round picks for? Patrick Mahomes. Why? That big, beautiful arm. This guy loves a big arm, and if you look at the Cleveland AFC North, you are playing in cold weather environments. You are playing in Pittsburgh. You're playing in Cincinnati. You are playing in Baltimore. There is no reason why a big arm wouldn't be the most advantageous skill set. Yeah, Sam Darnold might be a great kid, blue collar, the whole thing. Do not count out Josh Allen, #1 to the Browns. I'm telling you, there is a lot of heat to that right now, and he's going to be meeting with all these teams. He might end up being the belle of the ball when it's all said and done.
Jim Mora has taken a ton of heat, and everybody's freaking out because he said Darnold to Cleveland may be a better fit. My takeaway is I'm not sure he's doing Rosen a disservice by saying that. What is your read and takeaway on Mora, Rosen, and what appear to be sort of critical comments of Josh?
It comes out on NFL Network. He says this thing, and everyone said, not only does he say he doesn't think he should go first overall to Cleveland, but he says the crosstown rival should go, and says because he's a better fit. I look at that, and Colin, call me naive, whatever. I think Josh Rosen's success is tied a little bit to Jim Morris. He wants to see the kid succeed. I think that's him saying, man, I hope he doesn't go to Hugh Jackson. I hope he doesn't have to go to Cleveland and have the entire franchise on his back. I think he thinks the better fit is going to New York, where he can learn from Pat Shurmur and Eli Manning. Or, better yet, go to New York Jets, where he can go with Jeremy Bates and learn from him. I didn't take that as a negative on Rosen. And I think Rosen almost sarcastically tweeting out the Y emoji yesterday and saying opinions, everybody's got them this time of year. I think he almost understands this too. I don't think Mora was dragging the kid through the mud. Quite personally, I know that relationship. Mora 3 years. I think Rosen was his best player. I think Rosen got the most out of Rosen, and Rosen got the most out of Mora. His daughter's friends with Rosen. They live in the same neighborhood. I don't think this was him trying to kill the kid by any means. I just think everyone sees the word millennial, and it's got this toxic feeling towards it. I don't see it that way at all. And guess what? If a quarterback is the most intellectual guy on your team and a quarterback is the most opinionated guy on your team, if you're the New York Jets or the New York Giants, I don't think that's a bad thing in New York City. I'd rather have that than a wallflower who just says, yes, sir, no, ma'am, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. I like the fact that he's talking about Rosen this way. And if going to Cleveland is a negative, fine, steer him elsewhere. He might be better off going to New York.
All right, let's look at the draft board. We know who wants a quarterback, who doesn't. I believe Buffalo's doing what the Philadelphia Eagles did last year. I'm still surprised, and maybe they don't have the gravitas, the picks, and Arizona's not moving up. Do you believe the current draft order, Browns, Giants, Jets, Browns, Broncos, Colts, Bucks, Bears, Niners, Raiders, will remain that on draft day, or Buffalo moves up?
I think Buffalo's the biggest mover and shaker in this thing. And I look at free agency. You look at what the Arizona Cardinals did. They gave Sam Bradford $20 million. Steve Kyman's one of the most respected general managers in the league. They felt like if they got a healthy Bradford, let's roll. It's a one-year deal. What's the risk? Let's go for it. The Denver Broncos, before even Kirk Cousins met with them, gave Case Keenum a 2-year deal that he's going to be making $20 million next season. Everyone jumped out of the gates and said, let me get this free agent quarterback. The Bills, they laid back. They said, okay, let's see who's left over. A.J. McCarron at $8 million. That's a good discount. I think there are two teams to watch here. I think the Giants at #2, you're right. I believe the Giants would be willing to trade down in this situation, but I don't think the Giants would be willing to trade down from 2 to 12. I think there has to be a two-way trade here. I think the Giants need to either trade down with Indianapolis first and then another trade with Buffalo, because I think the Giants, quite honestly, I think the Giants want one of those other guys if they don't go a quarterback at #2. I don't think they want to miss out on Barkley, Nelson, or Chubb. So hear me out, Colin. I think there's a good chance that the Bills either go up to 6 and just take Baker Mayfield, and they're happy with that, and they sign off, okay, we got Baker Mayfield, we got our quarterback. Or the Bills play aggressor here and say, why don't we trade up with the Colts? The Colts trade down to 12. They give them the 12 and the 22, whatever. And then the Giants trade down with Buffalo from 2 to 6 as opposed to 2 to 12. And the Giants can still get a Saquon Barkley, a Bradley Chubb, or a Quentin Nelson. I do believe that the Bills are going to move up. The question is, do they have the draft capital to move all the way up to 2? They might have to trade even more to go up from 6 and then again up to 2. Brandon Beane, this is a guy who just traded away in one season, not even an offseason, gave away a former number 4 overall pick, Sammy Watkins, saying we don't need him. Marcel Darius, former number 3 pick, saying we don't need him. All focused on the 2018 draft. The Buffalo Bills have 6 of the top 100 picks. I would be shocked after waiting out and not being a big player in the free agency game at quarterback and saying, give us whoever's left over. A.J. McCarron, great. I believe they're all in on the draft. And knowing Brandon Beane, he is not scared of taking a big swing right here. One last note on that one, Colin. Dave Gettleman, GM of the Giants, number 2 overall pick, who worked under him in Carolina for many years, Brandon Beane. These guys have a very close relationship. They know each other well. I wouldn't be shocked if the Giants and Bills figured something out some way, somehow.
Finally, Odell Beckham. The media loves him. Doesn't mean general managers do. They don't like annex, and he is a fragile perimeter player. He's not a left tackle. He's not a quarterback. He's not a signal caller on defense. There are limitations, even to a Julio Jones, on producing W's. So I look at Odell Beckham, and I think I'd give up a first-round pick for him. I think, is his name out there still? Is there a chance he wouldn't be a Giant by the start of the season?
There was actual smoke to that fire. I'm not going to put out that smoke at all. Throughout the entire owners' meetings, I was talking to actual general managers face-to-face, and they're like, oh, yeah, no, like, that's a very interesting deal. And I can tell you that multiple teams did reach out to the Giants. No trade got done. It might be shocked. The one thing that no one's talking about, everyone's saying, you can't trade Odell, you can't trade Odell. If Antonio Brown was on the trade market, I am telling you 32 teams would line up to trade for him. If Julio Jones is on the trade market, 32 teams. DeAndre Hopkins, 32 teams. Odell Beckham was pretty much told no one is untouchable on the Giants, and 32 teams did not reach out for Odell Beckham. 16 teams did not reach out for Odell Beckham. A few teams, they searched around. They dug around and said, what's it going to take? We kind of got what the market was, and it kind of got cold. I would just say this. A guy entering the final year of his contract who has already said that he wants to be paid like a quarterback and has already said he might not take a snap the entire preseason, and a guy who's living in L.A. and enjoying living in L.A. this offseason, has not been a wallflower in L.A. this offseason, might not have the same trade value as some of these other wide receivers. I would just say what the media and the fans think of Odell Beckham's market value might not be the same around the rest of the NFL.
Total honesty. Appreciate it, Schrags. Thanks, bud.
Thank you, Colin. You're the best.
Peter Schrager. Coming up, you're freaking out. We're doing it. We're warning you. Take a deep breath. What's going to happen is what happened last year. That's next. Can you imagine taking a car on a 100-day test drive? You can't, because it would never happen. Owning a watch for 3.5 months and then just turning it back in. That's what makes Casper amazing. Their 100-night sleep challenge. You get the mattress shipped free in your own home for over 3 months. And if you don't like it, they'll come ship it out for free and refund you money. Full refund, free shipping in and out. Who would offer that? The answer is nobody. It's not like going to a mattress store, 2 or 3 minutes laying on it. 100 nights, you sleep on the mattress. Casper.com's 100-night sleep challenge. I like mine, and I guarantee you like yours. Casper.com code HERD. Terms and conditions apply. Casper.com code HERD saves you $50 on select mattresses. Casper.com code HERD for the 100-night sleep challenge.
Driving a race car is like dancing with a chainsaw. Kelly Yarborough.